So, with all the attention on the Washington Commanders versus the Baltimore Ravens that is set to kick off 2 days from now at 1 p.m. on CBS, I think a big part of this game is going to be coming down to the defensive side of the ball, specifically the defensive line. And I think a big impact on this game is going to be the ability to get consistent pressure on quarterback Lamar Jackson. And with that being said, I think the Washington Commanders have a bunch of guys that aren't elite or aren't studs. They're playing within a system. So the last couple of weeks, they've been playing in a system as a unit and rushing as one. That is how they've been able to get successful. And of course, it does help that you're facing teams that aren't as good. However, with that being said, I do think Washington should entertain adding a pass rusher at the trade deadline, considering the fact that we will potentially be buyers trying to add to this team. And a guy that's out there that could potentially be on the trade block is Jets pass rusher Hasson Reddick. I think that's something that the Washington Commanders should entertain. Let's talk about it.
The way that we live is not for everybody. We're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and Shawty is the winner. You can tell that Shawty's
You know what time it is. It's time to come out.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We have another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, coming on here with a video where we're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders adding a pass rusher to this defense at the trade deadline. His name is Hasson Reddick. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so we greatly appreciate it if you haven't reached that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Let's get straight into today's video. So, as we know, speaking on the Jets, they just fired Robert Saleh. And one of their best players in pass rusher, Hasson Reddick, has not played all season as he is seeking a new contract. I think the Jets will end up moving him at some point before the deadline because I don't think they're going to come to terms on a long deal contract, which makes me feel that he'll most likely be available next year. But if you are a team like the Washington Commanders around the trade deadline and you're sitting at, I don't know, 6-1, 7-1, or 6-2, whatever your record may be at that time, I think that could be a position that you essentially look at now. Are we dying for help at the pass rushers? Are we the Arizona Cardinals bad? No. We have a bunch of guys that are rushing together as a unit. Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Farrell when he comes back healthy, F.L. Bottle when he comes back healthy, Dante Fowler. You know, we've been rushing together as a group. But if you want to solidify a position and have a star pass rusher there for the next, I don't know, 1 to 2 years, because he is up there in age, he is in his 30s, so he's not going to be here necessarily long term, I would sign him to a 2-year deal. Now, you're probably like, Juan, what we have to trade for him though. Like we can't just get him. True. So what would you be giving up? Leave yours down below in the comment section. Me, I'm giving up a conditional 5th round pick. Conditional 5th round pick, and I think that does it. Conditional 5th round pick, and the conditions is if he meets so-and-so requirements, or if he plays X amount of games for us, that can turn into a 4th round pick. Hasson Reddick is still one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. I know he's a guy that has never really been loved by a team, and I've always wondered, he's always produced. How is this guy not on a team long term? He's 30 years old, so he still has some football left in him. I don't know how much game shape he is going to be in or how long that's going to take because he hasn't played all season long. But at some point, I do expect him to be moved. Hasson Reddick, 2023 with the Philadelphia Eagles, he had 11 sacks. The season before that with the Eagles, he had 16 sacks. The season before that with the Panthers, he had 11 sacks. The season before that with the Cardinals, he had 12.5 sacks. This guy, 4 for 4 seasons straight with 2 different teams or 3 different teams, he's put up double-digit sacks. That would easily be the best pass rushers we had since prime Ryan Kerrigan. Not prime, but Preston Smith days. You know, I love Montez Sweat, but Montez Sweat wasn't consistently putting up 12.5, 11.5, 16, and 11. Like, that was never the case. So he would easily come on this team and be our best pass rusher, and he would put, to bed the worries that we may have as pass rushers. Because I know a lot of us want to solely hound on the cornerback position in the secondary, specifically against CB, because we want to draft one, or we want to sign a big guy in free agency, or we want to trade for JC Horn because we feel like cornerback is an issue, which it has at time. It is. They play better as of late. But it is a position where you want to add a big name to. I totally understand that. But pass rush is also something that you shouldn't neglect either. And I understand the kind of production we're getting out of these guys that we have on the roster, but let's not blow it out of proportion as if these guys are just being true game wreckers, because that's not the case. Hasson Reddick has an opportunity to be a game wrecker. Now, you may be like, Juan, what if he comes here and he's still on the same Jets BS where he's not going to play unless he gets paid? I don't think that would be the case. I think a lot of what goes into his decision may be because of how much he wants to get paid and the Jets not wanting to pay him. And also he's seeing how the Jets season has turned out. They already fired their head coach. I think if you get him here in Washington and we're 5-1, we're riding high, 6-1, or 6-2, 7-1, whatever the record may be at the time, it may make him want to play. And I believe fines start kicking in at some point too, and you have to meet the requirements of a certain amount of games unless you want to do this thing all over again next year. So I do think at some point he is going to want to play, whether he gets a contract or not. Now, obviously, he wants that contract, he wants that security, and he wants that knowing that a team wants him, which wouldn't, right? You're still putting up numbers, and teams still don't want to pay you. That is crazy. So I think Hasson Reddick will end up getting paid here in Washington if he was to come, and I think it's a low risk, high reward, right? You low risk giving up a conditional fifth round pick that could be a fourth if he pans out. If he doesn't pan out, okay, you gave up a fifth round pick for an opportunity to look at a guy and see if a guy can be that 2-year, 3-year pass rusher that we may need. There's no wrong in that, in my opinion. Again, it's not like this guy doesn't have any production. Do I need to read off the last 4 seasons for you with 3 different teams? 11 sacks, 16 sacks, 11 sacks, and 12.5 sacks. That's with 3 different teams: Carolina, Philly, and the Cardinals. He has been producing. I think he come here and he produced with Dan Quinn, with Joe Witt Jr., and with having an elite pass rusher finally. That is what been missing on this defense. That is what's going to bolster this defense, and that's what's going to help out the secondary continue to play good. So I would entertain trading for Hasson Reddick. If they do not trade for Hasson Reddick, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be upset. I do just think with Washington being buyers at the deadline, that is something that they should entertain. I know a lot of people want to get JC Horn. I get that. I wouldn't mind getting JC Horn, but what are they willing to give up for him? Are they even willing enough to give him up for anything? Can he stay healthy? Has he really produced anything? I know he has 5 interceptions, but has he really produced anything on a consistent basis? I would much rather pay Hasson Reddick, who has a track record of being healthy and has a track record of putting up production, opposed for J.C. Horn or DeAndre Hopkins. And I know this may sound crazy, but at this point of his career and how cheap he is right now, I would rather have Noah Brown over DeAndre Hopkins, right? Because again, we look at how we're scoring. Look at how we're scoring with what we have now. I don't want to add an old head. If anything, I want to add, no offense to D-Hop, obviously, but I don't want to add an older receiver. I want to add, if anything, a guy that's going into his prime, that's going to be like a T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, whoever's a free agent next year that's going into their prime that's really good. I wouldn't mind adding those kind of guys, or I wouldn't mind going in the draft and getting a guy in the second round or something like that. Hell, even the first round if we decide to go that way, right? I wouldn't mind doing that, but adding a 30-plus-year-old guy on the plus side of his career, on the downside of his career, not saying D-Hop still can't contribute, because he can. I wouldn't do it. I would much rather trade for Hasson Reddick, who's 30, who can give us 2 good years. We can sign him to a 3-year deal with a chance to get out this after the second year if we don't like what we've been getting from him. But I think, given his track record, given his history, and given what he's produced, he still has some left in the tank, and he still is fully capable of being one of the better pass rushers in the league. And I think that is going to be something that kind of solidifies Washington's defense for the time being. Washington, especially if they continue on this upward trend of being a playoff team, perhaps a Super Bowl team. We'll see what happens on Sunday versus the Ravens. If we beat the Ravens on Sunday, we're for sure a Super Bowl team. But considering the fact that this season is headed upward, I think we will be buyers at the deadline. And a guy like Hasson Reddick makes too much sense to not at least call the Jets to see what are y'all willing to give up for him. Is he willing to sign? Does he want to sign a contract now? which I believe so. If not, would he be willing to play for us until we see what we have out of him? I think you just pay him. I really do. I think because based off his production, I think you just pay him, and I think you make a friendly deal that solidifies both sides, right? You can give him some guaranteed money. You can fully guarantee his contract. And that's what kind of would make you just give him a 2-year deal. He's 30. He's not 25. He's not 28. So I don't think he can necessarily be trying to have us by the balls as an organization. And I don't think Adam Peters is going to allow that to happen. So, hey, man, I say at least attempt to trade for Hasson Reddick to add to this defense. What says you out there? Don't forget to use my promo code JuanGotti on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first purchase. So if you're going to any Commanders game, if you're going to that Commanders-Ravens game, they're in Baltimore, you can use my promo code to get $20 off. If you need to pay for parking, you can use my promo code to get $20 off, on your first purchase at SeatGeek. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Helps to Washington Commanders. Leave your comments down below. As always, me, boy, Juan Gotti. See y'all later. I'm out. Peace.